welcome to my kitchen and another episode of What's for Dinner. Tonight we're going to do a leftover makeover. We're going to do open-faced Philly cheesesteak sandwiches. And we're going to use some leftover London broil that we grilled on the grilled out on Sunday, and I'll show you how we're going to do this. This is the London broil that Rick cooked, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I went to the Piggly Wiggly and I asked them to cut me a 3 to 4 pound London broil, and it was absolutely gorgeous. And we're probably not even going to eat all of this. I mean, it was over 4 pounds, and it was just beautiful. Look at this meat. Rick cooked it absolutely perfectly. So what we have here, what was that? That was the computer. Ding! I hear dings, and I don't know what it is. We're going to go ahead and fry the traditional veggies up for this, but we're going to cook the meat a little differently than you would for a traditional steak sandwich, because we don't want to overcook it. It's already perfectly done. So we're going to cook the vegetables and the meat separately, and then we're going to marry them in a wet sandwich that's going to be open-faced. We'll put some cheese on the top and melt it, and it'll be great. Onions, I've got a couple of onions. I've got some peppers that I had in the fridge left from last week when we had salad for dinner. And since I didn't have any fresh mushrooms and I didn't feel like stopping at the store today, this is the remainder of a can of dehydrated mushrooms that I had in my food storage. And a couple of cups of water. And I'll show you what I'm going to do with that right now. Is I'm just going to dump that like that. Because these don't take much to rehydrate. But I'll tell you right now, there's some good flavor in there. So you don't want to waste that liquor from rehydrating the mushrooms. And there were a lot of bits and pieces in the bottom of the can. I also don't want to waste that. So we're not gonna. But while we're over here, I've got my mushroom liquor in the pan here. And I have about a half of a box, which is a quart, of beef stock that I had in the fridge. And I have another box of beef stock. And I probably won't use the whole thing. Just enough, like that much. You just want enough liquid in the bottom of the pan so that your meat doesn't scorch. So then I'm going to lay some of these sliced London broil in here. And this is just another idea that to give you, because like I said before, can we ever really have too many ideas for what to cook on those busy weeknights? This also kills two birds with one stone because
she smells it.
Tally has a nose for meat, I'll tell you that. This kills two birds with one stone because you're using up your leftovers. And I'm going to go ahead and heat all of this up. And get all that good juice in there from the meat. Like I said, you don't want too much broth in there, just enough so that it doesn't scorch. Let me get my lid. I'm going to set that over medium heat just to get it to start to come up to heat. Before it's off my hands. And then I'll switch places with Rick. Let me get some olive oil in this other saute pan over here. Sorry, vegetable oil. You can use olive oil, vegetable oil, you can use whatever you want. About that much. I'd say about 1.5 tablespoons, just enough to coat the bottom of that pan. And put that over medium heat as well. And get my salt ready, my pepper. Let me get some chopped garlic out of the fridge. See if I can locate it. That's one of those things that likes to hide from me.
Looking for it, Tally.
Looking for meat.
Making sure she didn't drop anything?
I didn't drop anything, Tally girl. I'm sorry.
Oh.
You know what? Let's just use some. I'll grab some garlic powder in just a minute. There goes my burner, is smoking. Alright, so we want to make sure that this comes up to heat because we don't want to put those vegetables in a cold pan. I hate when that happens. Ooh. Don't you hate when that happens? All those mystery things that end up in your burner. You know, I wipe this stove down 2 or 3 times a day. It never fails. Something gets down in that burner well and always smokes up when I start to cook. I am no different than any of you. Unless you're like my mother and dust doesn't have time to settle in her house because she lives in a museum. I love my mother, but I don't have time for that. I think it's a generational thing. But Rick always calls me Monica. I have my moments. You can tell him why you call me Monica.
Can't stand dirty dishes in the sink overnight.
It's true, I can't. Give them the reference.
From Friends.
It's from Friends. There it goes. I can see it's starting to.
Yep.
You can't see it in the camera, but you can tell when you're standing over it, it starts to ripple ever so slightly, and that means it's hot enough. Let me see. Almost. It needs to be a little hotter. We'll turn that up. So of course I have it on this. I have one large burner and 3 small ones. But with these stainless steel pans, it usually doesn't matter. There it goes. Let me get over this spoon here. That's what I want to hear. Stir that up in there. Put my peppers in there. And give it a good stir. You want to get those coated with some of that oil. And nobody says that a Philly cheesesteak has to be on a sub roll. It can be open-faced on sandwich bread. It can be open-faced on hamburger buns, whatever you have. And you don't even have to serve it on bread. You can just put this on a plate, sprinkle some cheese over top of it, and call it dinner. And it'll be lovely. It is what it is. You know,
on tortilla.
If you're on a, put it on a tortilla and roll it up in a wrap. If you're on a low-carb diet, or if that's how you prefer to eat, then you don't have to eat bread at all. This is a lovely low-carb dish, full of protein, lots of veggies, and you can just go for it like that. I'm going to go ahead and add my mushrooms that I rehydrated right into the pan. And they may not look that pretty right now, but you got to give them a little time, and then they'll look just like regular mushrooms, as if you had opened up, you know, if you prefer canned. I will never buy canned mushrooms again. Thank you, Dr. Oz. Just like I don't think I can ever eat anything that's supposed to be raspberry flavored again either. No way. I don't know if any of you saw that, but I gotta tell you, Molly is enamored with Dr. Oz. I'm just putting some pink Himalayan salt on here. And Dr. Oz did a show not too long ago about food additives and what they really are. Well, one of these additives he talked about was called castoreum, like castor oil, you know, C-A-S-T-O-R, but it was E-U-M at the end. They say they put castoreum in things that are mostly raspberry flavored, and it's supposed to round out the raspberry flavor. Well, come to find out what castoreum really is, and this is so gross it's not even funny. I'm sorry to spoil your dinner, but it doesn't bother me to talk about it. Castoreum is the secretion from the beaver anal gland. So we affectionately call it beaver butt juice. Yes, that's about as indelicate as you can get. I know my friend Cat's Cradle is always worried about being indelicate. Well, guess what? How can you talk about that and be delicate? I don't think you can.
That's my favorite flavor too. So how much beaver butt juice I've eaten.
But the good news is that it's generally only used in hard candy. So you don't eat a lot of hard candy.
No.
So no more raspberry lifesavers for any of us. I'll tell you that.
Man, I just had some.
Raspberry lifesaver. Good. Okay, I just put some pepper and some salt in here. I'm gonna turn up the heat just a little, and I'm gonna let these saute and let them slump. And then I'm gonna go, and when we come back, we'll put this delicious dinner all together, and we'll fix you a plate. We'll be back soon. Everything is ready to put our sandwich together. Now, this cooked a little, and we're gonna take it out and put it on our bun here. Now, for any of you who are familiar with Chicago beef sandwiches, which are awesome and amazing, they are made with very thinly sliced ribeye steak, and you have the choice when you order them. You can get them dry, you can get them medium, or you can get them wet. And if you order them wet, then they literally soak the bun.
Yes, they are dripping
in the broth. And then you have your choice of any number of toppings. But here we have our onions, mushrooms, and peppers. And I just have a half of a hamburger bun that we had some Spam burgers the other night with our tomato soup. So, you know, that's a pretty good serving right there. And now I have some Munster cheese. And if I just hold this right there for a moment, that Munster cheese will start to melt. My lid is still hot. And of course the meat and the peppers are hot. So we want to get this melted down just a little bit. And of course you can stick it in the microwave if you want to. I just want it to look pretty for you, that's all. And it doesn't take long for this cheese to melt.
You could put a glass bowl over it.
You could put a glass bowl over it, but see, it's already starting to melt there. It's pretty and it's delicious, and that is an open-faced Philly cheesesteak my way, using leftover London broil and everything that I already had in the house. A great way to clean out the fridge, a great meal on the fly, a nice, quick, easy dinner. So, I hope you try this and I hope you love it. And until next time, I'll see ya.